Whether you're creating stunning product visualizations or just exploring the world of 3D art, the ability to break down complex objects is an absolute must. In this walkthrough, we'll take a seemingly simple object and use it as our canvas to explore useful modeling techniques in Blender 3D. You'll learn how to identify key shapes, plan your topology, and choose the right tools for the job. By the end of this video, you won't just be able to model a water bottle, you'll start to see objects with a new perspective. So let's get started. Well, if we look at this bottle as an example, we can find a pattern in its shape. So here is a symmetry line. We also see it here on the opposite side. And while this part is symmetrical too, it is also a simple revolved shape. And that's why we can model such objects separately. Starting with the most annoying part, we can model one side then mirror it. And the same applies to this part. But this regular shape can be modeled using the screw modifier. Even the base, which may look complex, could be deconstructed into repetitive parts. Here we have this shape repeated 8 times. If we take a closer look, we can find that the pattern is symmetrical too. So we can model one half, then mirror it, then duplicate it using the array modifier. Now let's see how to model this bottle. But before modeling, we should always analyze and deconstruct the subject. So we'll determine the revolving parts first to model it using the screw modifier. Then we have the base, which most of the time has bumps to sit on. These bumps vary in number. There may be 4 bumps, or 8, or maybe 6 bumps. Then for this wavy part, we'll notice that this wave is repeating. So if we slice the model at the green lines, we'll see the pattern clearly. So let's see how I set up the topology of this wavy part. First, I added a circle as a visual guide. I set the radius to 6 centimeters. And to determine the number of vertices I need, I multiplied 8 by 3, which is equal to 24. Then I created a grid with 24 x divisions. But this number was wrong, because I'm modeling half the bottle. It should be just 12 divisions. And in fact, I set it to 13 divisions to get 12 segments. Then I added a bend modifier and set it to minus 180 degrees to get this half cylinder shape. But this grid is way bigger than the guide circle. To get the exact size, we can calculate the circle circumference, which is 2 by pi by radius. And to get half the circumference, we'll opt out the 2 multiplications. Now you can easily edit the flat model to get the desired look. The wave has 3 peaks, so I deleted half the grid and added a mirror modifier. Then shaped the wave using proportional editing. Then I extruded the edge on the z-axis, and I flattened it, then added the carving and supporting loops as needed. Notice that I moved the whole mesh in the y direction. I placed it so the space to the origin point is equal to the radius. Then I added another mirror modifier to get the back side. Then to repeat the object, I used an array modifier. I used object offset so I can shift the wave by half of its length. This way it will look like it was mirrored. And the top part at the bottle's shoulder is exactly the same, but the array count is only 2. For this part, it was simply modeled using the screw modifier. I started modeling the base pattern using a screw modifier, but I set it to only 45 degrees, and set the steps to 3 to match the topology flow of the model. Then I repeated it using an array modifier and an empty rotated 45 degrees. Then to fill this hole, I duplicated the base, applied visual geometry to mesh. I kept the inner boundary segments and deleted the rest of the mesh. Then I filled it using grid fill. The neck thread was modeled using the screw modifier with the same amount of steps as the shoulder. Lastly, to join all the parts together, I put them in a collection, and I used geometry nodes. I added a collection info node, connected the collection input to an empty socket in the group input, then picked the collection containing the parts. But as the collection info output is instances, the model won't get welded as expected. so I added realize instances to convert it to a geometry. So in the future, always remember to analyze, deconstruct, plan, then model. If you've watched this far, congratulations. It shows how dedicated you are to leveling up your Blender skills. Please hit the like button, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And see you soon in the next video.